you look at the heartbeat or what actually drives the school, I would say it was reverence for our children. The children are the center of the school. It's always been this way, the center of our community. That's why we put up the school. We see these children come in as individuals. We try to recognize them as human beings, not just as little people, but human beings that one day will need to find their destiny. Not a destiny that adults make for them, but a destiny that is really their own. Every child is special. We try and recognize their gifts, and we try and help them draw it out. And we really believe that once this happens, once a child is allowed to find his own destiny, his meaning or purpose in life, he will be a happy person. And that's the best thing we can do for the world, really. Our greatest gift is to be happy.
I believe in this education. I think there would be less poor people in this world if there were more schools like this. There would be less corruption. There would be less people trying to fool others and fool themselves. I wish there were more schools like this, and I believe that if there were, a lot of the problems that we have today would be less. I'm not saying it would be totally solved, but I think it will be a better place.
No, we can't come home to a place we call our own, somewhere we belong. Even if you're gone, stations we can't keep.
We were a group. We were a group of parents, and so I guess we have many stories to tell. As for me, for my children, for both my children, what I was experiencing with them was they were entering a world that was maybe a little fast. It was a world of technology. On top of that, there was all this commercialism, buying toys, more, more was more, less was more didn't really exist. I felt that there was a real imbalance there. I saw it in my children. So in a sense, it was like my crisis point. I just wanted to change. And crisis is good because that's what sparks change. Luckily, I had siblings who wanted the same. First of all, we said, let's check out other schools. And we knew about the Manila Waldorf school, which was really the first school in the Philippines, the pioneer school. But it was in Quezon City, and we were in Alabang. So again, we said, well, let's start one of our own. And we had friends that were the pioneers of that school, and they were willing to help us out. Belia Tan was one of them, and my cousin, Tessa Halandoni Sharman. So they were really supportive. 3 from my eldest sister, Stella, 2 from me, 1 from my youngest sister, Yvette. And we had, at that time, a gardener, and she had a son, so he joined, so there were 7. We called it the Secret Garden. That was the name of our play group. Because it was a secret. Because we couldn't announce, it was in our village, and it was like a private group, so we couldn't really advertise. A few weeks or a month after we started, I get a call from Belia Tan. And Belia tells me, Trina, if you're going to do this, there's a training going on. It's being organized by the International Association of Waldorf Kindergartens. And I said, Belia, I can't, because my daughter is only 1 year and 9 months. I don't want to leave her. It was supposed to be all the way in Quezon City. But then she comes to me and she says, Trina, this is not just about your children. This is about the children of the world. And so I decided to go for it. So it was an on-the-job training thing. I was running the play group, and I was going to this part-time training. From there, actually, our play group was known, and other people with like minds in our area came to join us. So then we were not just a family doing it, right? There were people from our neighborhood, a little bit further away, so they all came to join us. One of the most interesting things is I really thought when I went to that training, I said, okay, I'm doing this for my children. But I stepped into the training and I realized, oh my God, my children have actually led me here because I learned so much about myself. And I guess that was the beginning of the journey. I had to learn a lot about myself. Of course, there was my sister Yvette Manotok, and then there was Stella Anonas. There was Gladys Maliksi, Ivy Esguerra, Monica Reonisto, Sheila Galvez, who's my sister-in-law. There was Joy Kaupeng and Dale Diaz. There was Alfie and Alpha Puy. I think this was a couple. And we had other foreigners. There was Hiroko Mini. She was Japanese. There was a lady, I forgot her family name, Suzanne. We would study together. We would do craft together. We did all the toys for our children together. We were a real strong group, and we were so convinced about this thing we were doing, we were embarking in. A month or two after we started, we were just amazed at how the children were transforming and developing. You know, our children stuck out in many sense, in a good way. You know, people would actually visit the kindergarten, our little play group, and they'd say, "Trina, you know, your kids are really different." It was fantastic to see, and of course she was saying, you know, I don't see children like this too often, you know. So it was good. We knew we were in the right track.
The best thing about being part of Acacia Waldorf School is
what do I love about this school?
Being part of a community that has accepted you as who you are.
I've always liked being with children and watching them grow and touching lives.
Everyone's family.
Being embraced by a larger community.
Gusto ko yung mga kasamahan ko sa trabaho, mga teacher.
Just being by the children every day is practically one of the best experiences.
We all support each other.
Dito na ho ako masaya.
The children grow up with us. We all grow together.
Takes good care of the young people who will be the future leaders of the society.
Ang mga bata malapit pa rin sa akin kahit malalaki na sila, ganun pa rin nung maliliit silang trato sa akin.
I feel like I'm one with Mother Earth.
More than anything else, it's how I see the children really enriched.
Or, you know, you're giving birth to something that will change the world, that will change humanity.
They're able to grow to their fullest potential because of such a rich curriculum.
Hindi tayo makakapag-isip na umalis at iwanan sila.
I feel that as a teacher, what better way is there to touch lives than that?
Yeah, so there came a time when the kids were approaching grade school. In particular, my sister, Yvette, decided to rally the kids and say, "Hey, come on, let's do this. Let's make a school of our own in the South." And so she rallied the parents, and she's, you know, and they were all in. Most of them were in, but not all of them. And luckily, we got this beautiful property through Tommy Manotok, who was friends with the owners of this place, the Quiros family, you know, Bebo Quiros. And I guess they spoke, and Bebo was just as inspired when Tommy spoke about this education. And he said, "Okay, we'll lease you this property for 1 peso." and they gave us a long-term lease for 1 peso. And so we did it, we plunged. And in the beginning, people were kind of discouraging us and telling us, you know, why so far? You're going to lose your students. At that time, we had about 27 kids. But, you know, the parents were saying, let's not compromise. We want to give the children pretty much an ideal place, because we realize that the education doesn't just come from the teacher. It doesn't come from the curriculum, but especially for young children, their environment really, really matters. We couldn't hit 30 for several years. We had mentors come and say, "I don't know why you're not growing. I mean, you have everything. You're doing a great job. The teaching's fine. The place is beautiful." And they figured it was probably because we were, you know, it was what we had expected. It was far. And like I said earlier, there was a dad that came here because he was from here. He was going to be here for a while. And he was exploring and he saw this place that didn't look anything like this. And he said, so, you know, what are you going to do? Well, this is going to be a school. This is our plan. And he tells us, you know, you're very brave. You're very courageous, because it was real pioneering. But in the end, it was worth it. The people eventually from the neighborhood started coming in, getting to know us. And slowly but surely we grew. I mentioned to you that verse of, well, just a line by Goethe, the one that says, boldness has genius, power, and magic. Begin it now. And that's what we did. With just money for one building and a garden, we dove. Not realizing or not knowing, we'd go with pure blind faith that we were doing the right thing. If you're talking about families and what were their difficulties and what were their challenges, it was being different, doing odd things like no television or no computers, or playing with wooden toys. You know, in-laws or cousins would say, why aren't you learning what we're learning? Or why are you going so slow? Or why are you doing these things? And, you know, hey, but we say, can you knit? Like the children learn to do in kindergarten. Or can you play the recorder? Or, you know, things that are appropriate for their age, right? So it was a challenge, but it was fun. And our children then, I hopefully saw the value in being different. It was okay to be different, as long as you were doing what you felt was the right thing.
We're all brought up in a traditional school.
I always had this concern about the conventional education,
where every day there's assignments, every day there's stress, there's pressure on your studies.
It's just like everything is, you need to memorize everything. They pressure children too much.
But here, it's like they're learning everything through play. They're learning everything in a non-stressful way, which is important.
Acacia made it possible for my children to grow up in a very nurturing community.
The vibes of the school, the vibes of the teachers, and I guess it's a whole package.
They don't only learn facts of life.
The openness they have, the confidence they carry, their lack of fear.
Because in their everyday life here, they see what are the important things in life.
Those are major ones for me.
It's really a partnership between the parents, the school, and the teachers.
They discover what are the most important things about life.
Instead of preparing you for a certain role in society, it just follows where you want to go.
Because you're preparing them not just for an exam, but you're preparing them for life.
Life is really a practical. We really have to do it in our own practical way. It's about building relationships with people.
And that gives so much freedom, and freedom just opens a child so much.
And then eventually, our eldest told us that this is the school for him. So how can you say no for a child that says that this is really the school for him?
I hear other parents, they have this thing about how difficult it is to raise their kids. I don't have that.
That's really, that's why I really love Acacia. And all I can say is that I just love it.
Initially, the school was planned as a K-8. But eventually, when the first graduates, which was the Kalachuchi class, when they were getting close to their graduation, a new group of pioneer parents said they wanted to start a high school. So last year, we started our first high school. There were 3 that stayed. And then when my kids from the Guava class graduated, majority of them wanted to stay. Plus, the Kalachuchi class, or the pioneer class, many of the children wanted to come back after their year out of the school. So now we've grown from a high school of 3 in the first year to a high school of 26 children. Now we're a K-12, And we're planning, you know, of course we need to build for that. Right now we have classrooms just for class 10, but every year, as it's been, even for the grade school, every year we build. And so our plan is to build a full high school. I would say a major highlight would be, for me personally, is the graduation of my class, my Guava class. I carried them from the time they were class 2 and 3, all the way till the time until they were 7 and 8, when they were ready to graduate. But on graduation day, I challenged them to give speeches, and not really knowing what would turn out or whatever. But one by one, they came up and they spoke it to the audience. And it was a 2-minute speech supposedly, but some of them took longer because they had more to say. And it was just telling us how happy they were to be part of this school.
What am I grateful for? I may not be able to explain it properly, but I am really happy to be in this school. Every day is different from one day to the next. I mean, you won't know what to expect every time you go to school. And I mean this in a good way. You may not really like a few people in your class or school. You may find them annoying, but at times, they can be really good friends. They can make you laugh or sometimes just really tick you off. But in the end, you won't be able to dislike them at all because they are just being nice. It may have taken me a long time to really look at my class in school and say, I love it here. But I am glad I have finally realized this. I find it really nice how teachers make time and really try to teach you how or why this or that works. I am glad a school like this was made. I find it weird to be able to wake up each day and say, I can't wait to see what happens today in school. I am grateful to be part of a school like this.
These 14 years are worth it. You know, when I see these children. They say Waldorf is an education of the head, heart, and hands. Hands meaning the will of the child. That happens in the kindergarten. Heart meaning the feeling part of the child, and that happens mainly in the grade school. And if we're able to do this, which we're doing now, which is a high school, then we're giving them the head, which is the intellect, the thinking part. You can't get away from it. It's your life. It's your story. But you can choose, right? You can choose. That's the thing. Before this, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't even think of choosing anything else, right? You just follow, yeah, right? And then a crisis point just says, oh wait, we're free.